Well, it is Monday, March 10th, and we're watching a lot of energy here across the Pacific, and that's going to be moving ashore, bringing a really strong storm across the west with heavy snow, heavy rain, and potentially one of the strongest storms that we've seen in many, many years across the central United States. Some of these pressures here, the low pressures anyway, will rival numbers that we've not seen, in some cases, more than 70 years. Just to compare that, take a look. This is maybe a little bit tough to see here, but if you zoom in, some of these red lines here, especially into West Kansas, and this I guess this almost maroon line here, showing numbers that have gotten down into the 973, 972 range, some areas down to the 960s. These are all-time record low pressures. Some of these areas, though, for March are a little higher, but this is all-time. I don't know that we break our all-time low, but certainly March records on the line with this storm. And what does that mean? Well, strong winds out ahead of it. Fire danger is going to be the first thing I think that we see. We're starting to see that today. And then we're going to watch the winds behind the system with some snow. Blizzard conditions, I think, are possible. And probably the most impactful would be severe weather on the front side of this storm, wherever it goes. A really impressive looking storm. It's been that way for a while. The New European overnight, this is the AI model, dropping it down to 972 millibars as it approaches parts of Minnesota. Now the record low here is more in that 968 or so. So I don't know that we break all-time lows, but we certainly have March lows on the horizon to be smashed here. But take a look at this, your severe weather outlook already increasing from the Storm Prediction Center, getting a little higher here across southern Missouri. Now, the interesting thing will be around the boot heel. It's going to be tough to get dew points north of this above 60. That doesn't mean you won't have that severe risk. This will be a highly sheared environment. You're going to get supercells, so that tornado risk extends pretty far to the north, even though dew points may only be in the 50s. But once you get down into this region, dew point's certainly a little bit higher. It's one of the reasons the risk is up, and they are seeing that at Norman, Oklahoma at the Storm Prediction Center. And then this pushes off to the east. So we're still looking at day 5 and day 6 here on this severe weather, and it's definitely a crazy-looking weather setup for sure. Let's take a big picture look, and then we're going to dive through all of the forecast details regionally. Hey, if you're brand new, thanks for coming by. I'm Travis. I used to forecast stuff just like this on TV, and it's been a long time since I've been in that business. I've been out, but if you want to follow this type of stuff, I hope you'll consider subscribing and coming back and supporting the channel here. Subscription really helps a lot. I appreciate all of those of you who have subscribed. All right, so today we're going to get some decent wind too out ahead of this system that's swinging through parts of Canada. We're also watching this pesky low here across the southeast. That's going to bring some rain showers today. That does move offshore. And then a weak area of low pressure moves into Southern California. This right here, this is our big piece of energy that's going to be diving into the west first. I always like to look at the big picture and then move in a little bit closer. We're not doing a top-down forecast in the atmosphere, which would be helpful. But in this video, just for time purposes, we're going to look at this trough that's swinging through. We kind of are looking at the mid-levels, and you can see that. That's cold air loft swinging in. Snow levels will drop to around 3,500 feet. Some cases, 4,000 feet. You may see 10 to 20 inches of snow here across the peaks of the Sierra into Northern California, 2 feet possible. The communities in and around Tahoe probably going to see a good 10 to 18 inches. Winter storm watches already posted for these regions, and now that heavy snow moves into the far southwest. If there's a silver lining here, I would tell you that it's going to be the heavy snow that's going to fall here across the Four Corner states, building that snowpack up that's been a little lackluster across parts of Colorado. So some good news, I think, on that front. The bad news on the eastern side of this, strong southerly winds will lead to an increased fire danger. I think really across a lot of the plain states, all the way up into the Dakotas. And then as this pushes off to the east, we start to see that cold air wrap in behind this system all the way into the Four Corner states. Out ahead of it, again, a warm flow developing here, strong surface low pressure. The GFS has this thing down to a 972, well, let's look here, 974. Yeah, so at about a 974 here across Kansas. So that's equivalent to a Category 2 hurricane, at least with the pressures here. It's going to be a big wind maker, and you're going to start to feel that wind as far east as the Great Lakes and maybe even into the southeast by Friday as the winds really start to pick up. Here's when our severe weather risk really starts to increase on Friday as our low wraps up. Blizzard conditions, I think, on the backside of this, and then this pushes off to the north and east. It starts to fill in some. And then we're looking at another storm moving into the Pacific Northwest. And then you can see how everything turns cold here behind this with temperatures on the way down. Let's zoom in a little bit closer here, and we'll talk about the Northeast first and work our way across the country. Wherever you're watching, hopefully this video will cover you so you can get an idea of what you can expect. Some light snow across parts of Maine into the Northeast. That moves away, and then we're relatively dry through Tuesday. A weak system will swing through Southeast Canada into the Northeast. It'll bring a few rain showers. Yeah, warm enough for rain now, even into almost a lot of Maine. Maybe the far northern tip of Maine may see some snow, but otherwise not looking too bad. And now look at this. This would be the third weak system moving through the Northeast, so very unsettled here. Temperatures on the way back down behind that first system, and not a huge warm up into this region. We'll finally start to see that, though, I think, by the weekend, out ahead of that strong area of low pressure as deep southerly flow develops. Temperatures today, highs will be likely in the 60s. Further south across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, feeling nice into the 60s, even up into Connecticut, Hartford, Springfield, Mass, likely in the upper 50s, close to 60 here. Still cold, though, across the far northern parts of New England. And then as we move into Tuesday, these temperatures here may be just a little bit overdone, but it is trying to push some warm air pretty far to the north, 50s. All the way to the U.S.-Canadian border, and there comes another shot of some colder air to the west, with temperatures dropping back well below freezing. Across the south and the southeast, also back into parts of the Mississippi River Valley, the Ohio Valley, you can see rain moving off of the coast here. A little wet, though, across Georgia through the day today and tonight into South Carolina, North Carolina, too. A little bit, I don't know what the word would be, miserable maybe. That may be a little strong, but you get the idea with that east to northeast breeze here. Cool, rainy, damp, kind of nasty along the coastal plain of North and South Carolina. Then that moves away. High pressure builds in. We've got zonal flow setting up here for now. So temperatures will slowly warm up, and now we're developing a bit of a broad southwesterly flow. Some of this is in response to, well, high pressure here across Florida, keeping us dry. But around that high, we've got circulation coming in like this, and we're also developing that low to the west. Those two components working together to bring in a lot of moisture. We may see some showers start to break out on Thursday, but again, the big severe weather at this point looks to be coming up on Friday out ahead of our main line here. A lot of deep shear here, change of wind direction with height. Tornadoes, I think, certainly possible with this all the way into Missouri, maybe as far north as Iowa and Illinois. The bullseye to this at this point to me looks right in here, and that would be, again, for Thursday, or I should say Friday night, also into Saturday. Now most of that energy gets pushed to the north, but we will still be dealing with some severe weather on the southern side of this. How about these highs? Beautiful. Highs in the upper 60s and low 70s in many areas. There's that cool, damp, miserable air across the eastern U.S. here from the Carolinas down into Georgia. Further to the north, weak system swinging through the Great Lakes region may bring some light snow late tonight into early tomorrow morning through the UP. And into parts of Ontario, then that moves away. Strong high pressure continues to build here. Weak system tries to slide through here in the mid-levels. That'll bring a little bit of snow, maybe for places like Buffalo, back to Toronto, and then east into New York State. Now, not a lot of snow here. Don't expect much, but cold enough for snow, and that gives you an idea. And then some showers swinging through Kentucky and Tennessee Thursday into Friday. Temperatures here in this area heading into this afternoon, warming up. I mean, warmer than we've been in quite a while. We're back up into the upper 60s, close to 70 for places like Madison. I don't know about Green Bay. We'll probably be in the 60s. Interestingly enough, you've got the colder lake waters here and keeping temperatures down near the water. And then we're up into the 70s for parts of Iowa, also into Missouri, even as far north as Minnesota. Taking a look at the central U.S. now, down into Texas, Oklahoma, dry weather today. You've got to worry about fire, though, especially pretty much this whole week as we start to see our winds start to pick up from the south. Storm Prediction Center clearly watching that for the potential for some fire, not just today, but over the next couple of days. In fact, let's pop over to that map. I want to show you this. This is your critical fire danger on day one. That would be for today across the Dakotas, down into Nebraska, Kansas, even Iowa, and over into Missouri. So certainly an issue. And then if you look at day two, fire weather gets elevated across parts of Texas, also into Arizona. And if you push this out, that risk stays here as we see some pretty impressive wind out ahead of our low. Let's push this out in time. Monday looking dry, really warm here too, by the way. So some really nice weather ahead of our storm, and we start to see some of those impacts across the Four Corner states as we head into Thursday with some heavy snow here into the mountains. The Wasatch, the Colorado Rockies going to pick up some heavy snow out of this up into Wyoming, and then this rapidly moves to the east. This is the overnight European, dropping this down to about a 978 millibar. So not nearly as low maybe as the really not even as low as the AI model, which was a little bit lower. The GFS is giving us, almost record-breaking low pressure here. And strong winds behind it. Rain changing over to some snow across Nebraska, and then your severe risk out ahead of it. Strong winds no matter where you are here with this storm wrapping up. And I do think there will be some blizzard conditions on the northwest side of this. Temperatures as we move through today warming up into the 60s and 70s and even the 80s. Into parts of Texas, deep south Texas though, but mid to upper 70s, certainly widespread all the way into Kansas, into Nebraska, and then heading into tomorrow, another warm day across Texas. We're back up into the 80s. Further to the north, again, that fire danger high across the Dakotas today. A lot of wind too as this weak system swings by to the north, but we're dry, so that fire danger is elevated. Another weak system moving through here, and then otherwise we start to watch out for that snow that could really pick up with some strong winds on the backside of this. I don't know how much snow we end up seeing out of this yet. This is the overnight European. The GFS might be arguably, well, I don't know. It doesn't look as strong as maybe it did yesterday. That's the 6Z. But either way, some snow blowing around here. And I do think there will be blizzard conditions on the backside of this. High temperatures today, fairly warm, relative to where we've been. And it's been a long winter here with some cold weather, and we're back up into the 60s. So a good, in some cases, over the next couple of days, 20 to 40 degrees above average. So really warm. Into the southwest we go. This piece of energy that is going to affect a lot of the country over the next couple of days is weakening as it approaches California. It's going to bring some rain and snow showers here into Arizona, New Mexico, into the Four Corner states. That's not going to be a huge deal. This will be, though, as we head into Wednesday. Winter storm watches up again into Northern California, into the Sierra Crest here, where we could see up to 2 feet. Winds could gust over 60. The core of cold air moving right over California. Then that trough swings into the west. Snow levels drop. Snow all the way down into the mountains of Southern California. And then again, more heavy snow into the Rockies. Places like Flagstaff, Williams, Payson. You get up into the mountains there. The San Francisco peaks are going to get buried with snow here, and that continues north up into the Wasatch. Heavy snow here, also into the Colorado Rockies, and then that pushes into New Mexico too, where I think we're going to see some heavy snow into the mountains. And look, this onshore flow continuing into the Sierra, so more snow here, and we'll keep the snow showers around even for the far southwest into the weekend as this cold weather pattern sets up. Temperatures here on the way down. Warm today though. Phoenix up into the 80s, Central Valley into the upper 60s and 70s. Salt Lake City a little warmer. We're back up into the 50s too. Even Boise up into the low to mid 50s. And then as we move into now Tuesday, Flagstaff back up above freezing into the 40s over towards Albuquerque. Not bad. Warmer into the 60s, maybe even close to 70 for you guys. But again, it's not going to last. Here comes the cold as we move into Wednesday and Thursday. So your highs on Thursday muted quite a bit back into the 40s and 50s. And then look, by Friday, your high temperature somewhere in this time frame. Phoenix barely getting into the 50s. It will be in the 50s, but you get the idea. Much colder weather, even in the Central Valley, will be in the 40s. And then into the Pacific Northwest, where we've got the rain and the snow here for now. Maybe a bit of a break for parts of Oregon, Washington, Spokane. We'll see some light rain and snow in the region, but things generally trending drier here over into Idaho too. But big wind, big rain, big snow moving in from Seattle down to Portland into Northern California. Speaking of Spokane, that rain and snow really starts to pick up here. Probably rain, though, into the valleys, snow into the mountains, and then snow levels will drop as we head into Thursday. Thursday morning specifically, that's when the snow really starts to pick up. Temperatures across this part of the country, you can see it all depends on where you are elevation-wise, but places like Seattle into the 40s, even Portland into the upper 40s, close to 50. We do warm up a bit ahead of this storm, but once that low crashes through and that cold air aloft moves in, we're going to watch our temperatures as we head into Thursday, into Friday. Look at Thursday afternoon. much colder here. A cold night heading into Thursday night into Friday morning. It'll be a chilly start. So numbers back below average across the west, peaking out Friday into the 40s, maybe getting into the 50s in some of the warmer valleys here of Oregon and Washington, but otherwise much colder weather for sure. All right, that was a lot today. I hope it helped. If you're watching this on the live feed, the playback will be available from the beginning where we go through everything from the top. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you next time.